My dear students, as we are talking about building a perception during the interview process, there are two more components which need to be considered in building a wrong perception or building a right perception. For example, single statements. Suppose an applicant's response to one of your questions rubs you the wrong way. If you are unaware of the impact that a single statement can have, then it could bother you to the extent that you eliminate the person from further consideration, even though the comments does not constitute a valid reason for the rejection. Sometimes you just make a perception based on a single comment given by the person, and that single comment, that single statement can bother you, and that single statement can lead to the rejection of candidate. May or may not be that single statement is relevant to the decision of rejection or decision of selection, but still one single statement can bother you, and that's why you should not consider such kind of conditions in building a perception. Be particularly careful if this should happen during the initial stage of the interview. If you are not happy with a single statement given at the very start of the interview, when you are trying to put the applicant at ease and establish rapport, then it is very problematic thing. The next thing in building perception is ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism refers to applying our own values, standards, and beliefs to judge or evaluate others. So every person has their own values and belief system, but it is not a good idea to make a decision based on your own values and belief system, as you need to be neutral being an interviewer. Overall, this is perfectly a natural result of our cultural conditioning process to which we are all exposed to. So if your cultural conditioning is in this way that you are very much stick to your own values and a belief system, obviously such kind of conditions would lead to the rejection of the candidate, or maybe the wrong selection of the candidate just because of their alignment to your values and belief system. In our early years, our well-intentioned parents, teachers, and religious leaders teach us to think and act according to certain guidelines. So ethnocentrism can lead to the rejection of the candidate. Keep in mind that ethnocentrism does not pertain to work-related standards established by the company, or rather it comes into play through the intangible, that is not tangible, intangible qualities of an individual style and approach to doing certain work in the organization. So in addition to building a perception, there are some questions to reveal integrity, honesty, and trustworthiness of the candidate. So what are those questions we need to discuss as well? Number one, discuss a time when your integrity was challenged. You are asking this question for an applicant. How did you handle it when your integrity wasn't challenged? Number two, what would you do if someone asked you to do something unethical? So you have to answer it, but how you handle the situation. Number three, have you ever experienced a loss for doing what is right? And number four, have you ever asked for forgiveness for doing something wrong when you are in some organization or in some social setup? And number five, in what business situation do you feel honesty would be inappropriate? So this is about honesty. And the last, if you saw a colleague doing something dishonest, would you tell your boss? What would you about it? So it is important to talk about honesty and dishonesty, and it is very much important to ask a question that how would you report dishonesty if it is happening in your organization, and what would you about it? So such kind of questions can judge the integrity, trustworthiness, and honesty of the candidates during the selection interview.